Oh yeah! Today we're teaching you how to find your people on social media. Hey guys, it's Jordan and Max. For the last 7 years, we've bootstrapped our entire lives by building online businesses, software companies, information products, and marketing agencies to survive.
Now, to see if we can take things to the next level, we've left our previous businesses to see if we have what it takes to build and maintain $1 million business without outside funding.
Follow along as we learn, share, and teach the best digital strategies being used by the best marketers and entrepreneurs in the world today. This is Misfit Radio.
Yeah. All right, so finding your people and identifying your people is probably one of the most fundamental cornerstone pillars of your marketing, and it won't work if you got it wrong.
It's almost one of those things where it's like everyone thinks they have it right, but 90% of the time they're going at it all wrong. But we definitely did.
Absolutely.
It wasn't our fault, and it most likely isn't your fault. I feel like when you're building a business, everyone always naturally wants to go for the biggest bucket of potential. Like, I want to target every active adult or every single person with back pain or all physical therapists. And it's really easy to fall in that gap when you're creating a business plan or pitching your business to somebody, but that does not transition into marketing. In marketing, if you're trying to go after a bit like everybody, it's never ever going to work.
Exactly. I think going after everybody is the opposite of marketing, right?
Exactly.
Like, marketing's all about getting down to this single point where you know exactly who you're trying to reach. Your messaging has to be exactly speaking to that one single person, and that's when your marketing is going to work.
And it's really hard to get yourself to do this because it feels counterintuitive. It's like I need to start getting results now, so I need to go after the bucket with the most opportunity. But that's just not actually the case. We learned that the hard way. When we first started building our first business, we were surrounded by entrepreneurship coaches and tons of successful business people that focused all about your total addressable market. How much potential is there for your success out there? And which is really important when you're creating a business plan because, of course, you want people to understand that there's a huge opportunity here with whatever product or service you're trying to create. But when you end up using that strategy in your marketing and you're just broadly trying to sell people out there, it's never ever going to work because, again, people purchase for very specific reasons. They buy when they feel understood, and you just can't do that if you're trying to target every single person that you could possibly help.
Exactly. So, I remember back when we first started, our company was targeting physical therapy practices, right? Mm-hmm. And, we figured out there's approximately 150,000 of them in the United States. And we thought this was a huge market. We brought it back to kind of our mentors and our coaches, and they're like, well, this is hardly big enough. You're going to have to get them all. So that's exactly what we tried to do, is we tried to reach all of them at once. And, we did that in a lot of ways. I think the biggest one that we spent the most time on is what we call hustle marketing.
Exactly. And so we thought that we could, because our product was so great and, every physical therapist could benefit from it if they used it, we started going after everybody, which meant we crawled the internet, wrote down every single clinic that we could possibly find in every single county, wrote down their phone numbers, wrote down their emails, and spent days, weeks, and months just cold calling these people. And when that wasn't, getting the results we needed, we were almost desperate. So I started doing cold walk-ins. I'd literally just map out an entire course of every single clinic within driving distance, and I would just go in and walk into them, whether they're private practices or if they're bigger chains like ATI. I just walked in and tried to pitch it to them, and that failed. That was the most painful thing in my life.
It was painful because we got so many no's. Like I would say 99% no's, and we weren't converting any beta users. So we had our coaches like watching us put in the hours, watching us pound the phones, and we weren't converting anybody.
Now I remember one of the coaches, this still just rings in my memory. She said, well, it can't be nearly as hard as you're making it. Oh. And I just wanted to first of all, never mind. Anyway, basically, it wasn't just that these people weren't, or it wasn't just that they're saying no or that, they weren't a good fit. A lot of them actually said yes, that they wanted to join a trial and they want to use it because who doesn't like trying new technology? One of the biggest problems, I'd say even worse than getting the no's, were the people that said yes, but they would never actually be the people that bought it. You know what I mean? Like, they use it out of curiosity or because they like me personally, they wanted to show support. But then when that trial was over and it came time to buy, they wouldn't because they didn't want to change up their routine. As a clinic owner, it's like, yeah, this is really cool. I see the benefit. I love your hustle. I love what you're doing. But in order for me to actually be able to implement this technology in my clinic, I'd have to train all my staff. We'd have to train our patients. And it'd just be, is it really worth all the trouble?
Right. Yeah, I remember one clinic in particular, we were super excited because it's part of a much larger chain that spans across the U.S. And we just got this one location from there. And he's like, yeah, if it works here, we'll spread it for sure. And we went in there and we offered a training to his staff in person. You know, we taught them, we gave them handouts, everything we could think of we did for them. And they did not use the software once, not a single time, never logged in. And that's kind of what led us to this epiphany that maybe we shouldn't be marketing to everyone. Maybe these aren't our people.
Exactly, because at the time we're in this business accelerator program that gave us funding, so the stakes were really, really high. We had a lot of pressure on us to deliver. So we're spinning our wheels, just doing all these cold calls, cold walk-ins, and we had a lot of users, but we only had a couple of people that were actually paying us and that were using it every single day. So we had to figure out, like, okay, like what is it about these people that are using it every day and that are actually paying us that's kind of consistent? What are they doing that got them to stick versus all these other people?
Yeah, I think we sat down and we said, how do we replicate our very best users?
We literally stalked them.
And this
digitally stalked them.
Of course. But this is actually probably one of the best decisions we ended up making, because this is exactly what you need to do. You need to think about your one very best customer, your favorite customer, and try to replicate them.
And the only way that you can replicate someone is if you know every single detail about why they love your service, what their goal outcome is, and what's getting them to keep coming back. So we had to drill down. We even had to like go out and interview these people. Like what is it about this that you love so much? Like, why are you continuing to use it? And we didn't even stop there. We drilled down to, okay, what's your family life like? Are you married? Do you have kids? What's your income level at? For these groups, like, are you the one that makes the buying decision, or do you have to talk to a team or someone higher up in the ladder to make a purchasing decision?
Exactly. And I think one of the big questions we asked was like, why did you why did you get into physical therapy in the first place? Why did you open your own practice? Learning their why so that we could resonate, saying, okay, people who have this why, that's why they want to use our software as well. They're strongly correlated.
Exactly, because when you're writing a marketing message, like if you're targeting someone whose goals are to stay super well connected with their patients, that they want their patients to be messaging them, the copy and the offers that you create for someone like that is extremely different than how you would market to someone that's, say, working in a hospital setting. They sell completely differently, even though they had the same jobs initially. We're like marketing to these two very different groups the same way. But as soon as we broke down our message and focused on these people that have strong family values, that were at a certain clinic size and had a certain patient experience that they're trying to create, once we're able to write copy and things around that, that's when we started to really take off.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things we learned, another aspect of it, was that the people that really loved our software were actually doing other things without our software to try to achieve the same results, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them were texting their patients on the weekends or after an appointment. Some of them were using a different software that's similar but didn't have some of the features that we did. So I think it was the people that were already trying to solve this problem. They knew they had the problem. They were looking for a solution. Those are the people you want to market to because they're ready to go.
And that's what really gets into the core of what we're trying to teach in this episode. You got to find the people that already know they have a problem and are actively trying to solve it already. Because if you're getting yourself in a scenario where you have to convince people why they should want your stuff, you're fighting a losing battle. You need to find the people that already know they have the issue and write copy throwing stones at what they're currently doing and to get them to come over and buy whatever you're selling.
Exactly. So what we ended up doing is after digitally stalking these people, we made actually like a worksheet. It was an Excel sheet is how it started. And, of course we did name, age, job, like Jordan talked about a little bit. We asked them if they're married, if they had kids. Important, like the demographics were obvious, right? But then there were 4 key concepts that we came up afterwards. So the first thing we want to know is what were their biggest pain points? Like what was their objections in their practice that they were trying to overcome? Then we wanted to know what their goals were. Like, why did they start their practice? Who were they trying to help? Things like that. And then the biggest one we came up with was actually what we call the empathy statement. So
very, very, very important. This is kind of what is where you try to figure out what is actually going inside their head. Because whenever someone's buying your product, they're not buying your product. They're buying an outcome that they're hoping to get out of that product.
Right, a transformation.
Exactly. So an empathy statement is basically, let's say we're targeting active lifestyle adults. Okay, an empathy statement would be, I'm sorry that your knees, aren't, as feeling as fresh as they used to be. I understand you're not able to lift as heavy, and a lot of your friends are now outperforming you, and I get that. Luckily, we know exactly how to treat. We've treated hundreds of active men with knee symptoms to help them get back in the gym.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites that I remember post our company, which is helping someone with their marketing, was a woman who was marketing to dancers, and the reason she got into PT to help dancers was because she was injured at age 14, and it took her over 10 years to get back, and now she's finally back to competitive dancing again. But she was rehabbed the wrong way. So for her to be able to empathize with people in that way, saying like, hey, I went through this and I did it wrong, much like we do with all our episodes, say how we messed it up so bad. That marketing message is just spot on. So real quick to jump to the last one, because I told you guys there were 4. Basically, the last one's objections, right? So why would they not want to come in? Why do they not want to spend their money, open their wallet for you? And that's a big one. So we'll provide this worksheet for you guys, but really, I want to get a little bit really quickly on how to use it. So the left side of the worksheet, which is the goals and the empathy statement. So this is what you use for making your content. In your content, you want to preach to their goals, and you want the copy to be about the empathy statement.
Yep, exactly. So the whole point of creating this customer avatar worksheet that we're going to give you is basically mapping out, okay, who exactly are we trying to target? What are their problems? What are their goals? Why might they, object and not want to purchase? So that when we go and create our marketing message, we talk to very, very specific issues. We address all concerns all in one short message, because a confused buyer never buys. So in your marketing content, you need to find a way to answer all those questions while also selling them at the same time by empathizing with exactly how they're feeling.
Exactly. So when we finally implemented this into our business, we found out that our customer was actually a man who was generally married, usually had a few young kids. But his why for starting a practice wasn't that he wanted to make money or things like that. He genuinely wanted to help as many people as he possibly could in this, in his business. And that's why he was willing to go the extra mile to message his patients outside of work and receive messages outside of work. So we got this all back. We got this data back, and we come to our coaches, and they're talking about our TAM now, right?
Yeah.
So it's all of a sudden we have this problem where it's like, oh, your TAM isn't big enough. Like this is only 10% of those 150,000 clinics we talked about. Right.
But the thing is, it's like, when you break it down like this, it's for the sole purpose of marketing. It's not saying that you can't go after other people, but in your marketing, you need to be focusing on one customer avatar at a time. So some people say, but there aren't enough people within this small segment of customer avatar that I'm creating to possibly sustain my business or hit my goals I'm trying to get to. That's fine. You can have multiple avatars. The point is, when you're making marketing messages, you have to focus on one at a time. Otherwise, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. And I think that's what we did. So we narrowed our message. We got it down to that one particular person that we knew was ready to jump and ready to try our stuff. And
then we started growing. Started finally growing at the rate that we were promising all of our investors and our teammates we could finally get, and life was really good. And the thing is, now we can take that knowledge and learn from those failures that we had, and now we can create really, really targeted messages that get people results. So the whole point of this whole episode is figure out who in your business, who is the dream customer you have, name every single detail about that person. Because when you go and create your marketing campaigns, when you create content like a podcast, a blog, or just some Facebook Lives, you need to be talking to very, very specific people. In order to do that, you need to use one of our worksheets to map out who exactly this person is, and then use that worksheet every single time you create a piece of content.
Exactly. So once you know your avatar, you're going to make the right content, you're going to make the right offers, and you're going to get results because those people will resonate with that message. They'll resonate with you. They'll start to associate you with the transformation that they desire. And that's when everything just starts falling into place. That's when you'll really see the power of marketing.
Exactly. So if you guys have any questions on how to map out your perfect avatar and find your people on social media, feel free to reach out to us in the comments. You can PM us. Go subscribe to us on YouTube. We're pretty accessible. So if you have any questions on how to find your people, let us know.
Being able to identify and engage your people on social media is absolutely vital to the success of your marketing. That's why you need to break it down to exactly who they are, exactly the messages they're going to resonate with, and exactly what you need to say to get them to take action. Reach out to us in the comments on YouTube or just send us a message if you want our exact avatar sheet we use for every single marketing campaign.